Episode 407. The applause in the arena thundered on and on.
Han Wenqing rose from his competition station. Just as he had entered, he walked down with composure, making his way to the center of the arena. As for Sun Shang over there, he was the one who could least believe what had just happened. He couldn't accept that he had actually missed with that final strike. For a pro player, wins and losses are part of the job. The problem was, he talked too big before this match. He declared he would settle things between Excellent Era and Tyranny, but now he was the one who lost. It left him utterly mortified. Sun Shang desperately wished he could just hide inside the competition booth until the first day of the All-Star weekend was completely over and then sneak out. But he knew it was impossible. Hiding wasn't the answer. The longer he stayed holed up in here, the more awkward it would become. Sun Shang took a deep breath and finally stood up. What had to be faced would have to be faced. He descended from the competition stage and saw Han Wenqing already standing in the center of the arena. He wasn't speaking, nor was he leaving. He was just standing there. Sun Shang's eye twitched a few more times. Han Wenqing was waiting for him, and he definitely had something to say. This was no kindly, approachable senior. Sun Shang finally reached the center of the arena. He could already feel Han Wenqing's icy gaze fixed upon him. Sun Shang walked up to him and managed to force a smile. They were already bitter rivals in the league, and after Sun Shang's pre-match comments, the atmosphere for this game was predictably tense. Even with his wealth of experience in controlling the stage, the host found himself completely at a loss, unsure of what to say. The host glanced at Sun Shang on his left, then at Han Wenqing on his right, and suddenly realized Han Wenqing was staring back at him with an icy glare. The host's heart skipped a beat, thinking he hadn't said anything wrong. He instinctively thrust the microphone toward Han Wenqing.
You kids want to change the guard now? You're still too green.
The moment those words were spoken, the entire venue erupted into an uproar. The media, never ones to shy away from drama, were especially electrified. No one could have predicted that this year's Rookie Challenge would be so full of drama. True to his reputation, Han Wenqing's taunt wasn't just aimed at Sun Shang. It swept up Tang Hao, who'd been shouting about overthrowing his seniors, and even Gao Yingjie, who'd just defeated Wang Jixi in its net. This year's Rookie Challenge saw one newcomer after another stepping up to challenge the veterans. Some had succeeded earlier, but with Han Wenqing, the old guard finally got their payback. That line was still a bit green. It was also a powerful counterpunch from all the veterans to every rookie champing at the bit to take their place. Sun Shang's face was a mask of agony, but what could he possibly say? Han Wenqing's counterattack came after he'd already won the match, proving his point with facts. Even the lightest verbal jab could automatically amplify its impact 100-fold. He had been a figure on par with greats like Han Wenqing, but that single phrase, "still a bit green," utterly stripped Sun Shang of the godlike status he had already attained. In that moment, he was demoted to a genuine rookie, a rookie all too eager to take the throne. But in fact, he'd already made it to the top. As the saying goes, you tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice. But Han Wenqing wasn't finished. His previous words were for all the rookies, but for Sun Shang, he had some extra attention.
Not bad.
Han Wenqing offered the obligatory words of encouragement, but his tone was so cold and detached that it just sounded awkward.
To pull off a sky strike that precise while facing away, I genuinely don't know how many people could do that. Impressive.
Sun Shang was taken aback. That move really had been a miraculous display of his own operation and judgment, incredibly brilliant. He hadn't expected Han Wenqing to single it out like that. The directors were on the ball. Hearing Han Wenqing say that, they immediately pulled up that brilliant sky strike one-on-one and played it on repeat. The atmosphere actually became much more harmonious. The host's eyes lit up, immediately wanting to say something, but Han Wenqing beat him to it.
But if it were Yi Chu, at least that rising dragon soars the sky would never have missed.
With that, Han Wenqing turned and left the stage. The situation immediately froze up again. Han Wenqing's words to Sun Shang took a small detour, but once he finished speaking, everyone immediately grasped his meaning.
You're not bad, but compared to a veteran, you're still green.
And what made this remark even more lethal was that he had dragged Ye Chu into it. The excellent era fans who had jumped up, ready to protest on Sun Shang's behalf, sat back down in a daze after hearing those words. Though Ye Chu had retired, his glorious image would never fade from their hearts. If Han Wenqing had said Sun Shang wasn't as good as him, everyone would have jumped up to mock him. But now that he was comparing Sun Shang to Ye Chu, even the most die-hard, excellent era fans had nothing to say. Chen Guo was one such person. She had been on the verge of exploding with rage, but the moment Han Wenqing mentioned Ye Chu, she suddenly fell silent. Then she sat back down in her seat, dazed, like a proper lady. The arena fell silent once more. Everyone watched as Han Wenqing strode calmly towards the competition area. The big screen was still replaying Sun Shang's brilliant sky strike, but the footage was quickly switched off. Clearly, even the broadcast director felt it was no longer appropriate to keep showing it. Sun Shang was left alone on the stage. The host stood off to the side, looking utterly lost on how to handle the situation. In the end, it was Sun Shang who took the initiative, reaching over to take the microphone from him.
I lost today, fair and square. But tomorrow? That's a different story.
With that, he handed the microphone back to the host and walked off the stage without a backward glance. The entire audience watched in silence. This rookie challenge had left them with a complex, unusual taste. For the moment, they couldn't tell if they felt joy or concern. The atmosphere in the arena was painfully stiff. This was absolutely not what the organizers or the broadcasters wanted to see. They quickly signaled the host to hurry things along and move on to the next segment.